Chaitra Ahmedabad and Master of Ceremony today for this Japan session. It is a pleasure to have you all in attendance of Japan session. Before we start the program, may I request you all to put your mobile on silent mode, please. Thank you very much for your support. I am pleased to inform you that today we are having many distinguished speakers who will share their thoughts and experience during Japan session. I will not take much time and straight away move on to the scheduled program. First of all, I invite Mr. Yu Yoshida, Director General of Chaitra Ahmedabad, to deliver his opening remarks. Yoshida-san.
Namaste. Kimche. Konnichiwa. As Japan is a partner country and JETRO is a partner organization for this Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference and Exhibition in Mehsana, it is my great pleasure and honor to welcome you all to this Japan session. Thank you very much for your attendance. I would like to express our sincere appreciation to His Excellency Ambassador Mr. Keiichi Ono for joining us all the way from Delhi. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。So JETRO has been participating in Vibrant Gujarat since 2009, and we truly appreciate that the government of Gujarat has launched this new initiative, regional version of Vibrant Gujarat, to replicate the success of the Vibrant Gujarat Global Summit at the regional level. So we believe this new platform will provide Japanese companies with fresh new opportunities to further expand their activities in partnership with local good companies across Gujarat. We also look forward to participating in the upcoming event in Rajkot, Surat, and Vadodara. So currently, there are 360 Japanese company bases in Gujarat, represented by Suzuki, Honda, and many of their suppliers. And as will be explained later in this seminar, these investments have generated tremendous socio-economic impact in the state. Furthermore, the semiconductor industry and the high-speed rail project are expected to further accelerate Japanese companies' business operations in Gujarat. So we firmly believe that the pro-business policies of the government of Gujarat, together with its geographical advantage, will continue to strengthen its industrial foundation and drive sustained development across the state. And we sincerely hope that Gujarat and Japan will continue to work hand in hand toward an even brighter future. So finally, please do not forget to visit our Japan Pavilion, which are located in the exhibition Hall C, where 8 Japanese companies are showcasing their activities. So we warmly encourage you to drop by today or tomorrow and interact with our participating companies. Thank you very much. ありがとうございます。
Thank you, Yoshida-san, for your warm opening remarks. It has set the tone of this session. Thank you so much. Now, I am privileged to invite His Excellency Mr. Keiichi Ono, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Japan to India and Bhutan, to honor us with his special remarks. Over to you, Your Excellency, please.
Namaste Mitro, Kemche. This time I'll speak it in English. Good afternoon. I would like to share a few thoughts on the growing potential for cooperation between Japan and the state of Gujarat. And thank you very much for coming to the Japan session, this vibrant Gujarat northern part. I already spoke in the opening ceremony of the vibrant Gujarat, so many things, many statements will be overlapped. But some of you may miss the morning session, so let me say a few words about it. The first thing for the Japan-India relationship, the remarkable event was Prime Minister Modi's visit to Japan late August. That was a historic milestone in bilateral relations. Prime Minister himself used the word a new and golden chapter in a special strategic and global partnership that opened by his visit. He said that in Tokyo. I truly believe that this is the case. We witnessed the many achievements of two prime ministers' agreements and others, including it is a wide range. It covers a wide range of areas, from national security, economic security, trade and investment, including a new goal of 10 trillion yen private investment from Japan to India, and many cooperation projects, including high-speed railway, AI, startups, semicon, and others. And also they agreed the new human resource exchange initiatives aiming to promote exchanges of more than 500,000 people both ways between the two countries over the next 5 years. This is a remarkable achievement by Prime Minister Modi's visit to Tokyo. So now it's time to follow up and make realize the achievements by the two leaders. Looking at Gujarat, as I said in the opening event, the partnership between Japan and Gujarat has been long, deep, and fruitful. Of course, we really appreciated Prime Minister Modi's personal and strong leadership in bringing our two nation states coming together in Gujarat. We really thanked his leadership. This northern part of Gujarat, adjacent to Suzuki's plant, is one of the most significant industrial zones for Japan in India. Today, JETRO hosts the Japan Pavilion, joined by 7 Japanese companies and 1 local government. This morning I already dropped by the Japan Pavilion, but all of them are very eager to talk to the Indian business people, startups, and others for their future businesses. As I mentioned during the opening event, I believe that 4 key areas are waiting for us for our collaborations. The first is manufacturing. Maruti Suzuki, needless to say, this is a shining case of the Japanese investment to this region. It has brought much more companies with it. However, they've never stopped. This year, they started manufacturing EVs here, EVTara. And it has already been started to be exported from Gujarat to other countries. So for the next generation mobility, our partnership will only grow stronger. The second is cutting edge technologies. The good example is semiconductor manufacturing in Gujarat. Many Japanese companies are now very keen to get involved, engaged in the Indians' new journey of manufacturing semicons. We have a long history of manufacturing semiconductors in Japan. It's not an easy path, but we are proud that we are strong, one of the strongest countries, nations in the world in this area. In Gujarat, companies such as Tokyo Electron, Renesas, Nomura Microscience, Fujifilm, they are already active here in Gujarat. And much more companies, they are waiting, not waiting. They've already started looking into Gujarat for the next chance. In Delhi, Japan Chamber of Commerce in Delhi, they've organized the Semicon committee. Very active, and every month also they have meetings with more than 100 companies on only on semiconductors. They came in Gujarat, Dorera. They went to Jagiroda Assam together with myself, and we talked to Tata and other semicon companies in India. They invited Tata and also state government officials to Delhi to talk about their businesses with the Japanese companies. So this is an emerging area, and the government of Japan also will support strongly these efforts in this area. The third is clean energy or sustainable development. As I said, Suzuki and Gujarati companies, dairy businesses, they've now started looking into the new biogas plant using cow dung here in India. This is one of the examples. This is not the only case. So this renewable energy clean development is also an emerging area for our cooperation. The last but not least is a people-to-people exchange, human exchanges, human resource development. Shizuoka Hamamatsu case is also a shining example. And India-Japan Friendship Association in Ahmedabad, led by Mikhail Paterji, they just visited Hamamatsu, Japan, very, very recently to celebrate the India Hamamatsu Day. So this is a good case, but of course this region has other friendship relations with other cities like Hyogo and others. So we would like to enhance those cooperations between the regions. This is crucially important. India is so diversified. India is so big, so and with a big population. So not just between Tokyo and Delhi. I would like to enhance those collaborations between the local areas, regional areas. So, as Prime Minister Modi ji once said, that India and Japan see each other's growth as their own growth. This is a unique but really strong friendship bond between two nations. So our partnership with the people of Gujarat stands as a shining symbol of the success of Japan-India relations. We will continue to work hand in hand to further deepen this partnership. I wish you all the very success of this vibrant Gujarat regional conference here, and also I wish you all the success of business collaboration, concrete, specific, real business cooperation among you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, His Excellency, for your important insights. It has given all of us important understanding about deeply rooted Japan-India and Gujarat relationship and way ahead. Moving on, now I invite Mr. Hiroyuki Nakamura, Assistant Director in the Business Development Division in the Shizuoka Prefectural Government, Japan, to share his thoughts with a presentation on Shizuoka Gujarat relationship. Over to you, Nakamura-san. Sato-san, I am so sorry. Suya-san. So, Mr. Sato is making presentation. Please, over to you.
Namaste, Tamane Marine Anand Tayo, Marunam Satoche. It's a great honor to be here today. Thank you very much for the opportunity to introduce Shizuoka Prefecture to you today. My name is Toshiaki Sato. Today, I'd like to give you a brief overview of Shizuoka Prefecture. Before I begin, may I ask, has anyone here heard of Shizuoka Prefecture in Japan? Thank you so much. Okay, I guess probably no one, but okay. So let me tell you just one important thing that I'd like you to remember today. Shizuoka Prefecture is the home of Mount Fuji, which you can see in this picture. Okay, now let's get started. First of all, let me explain why I was given this opportunity to make this presentation. It is because of the relationship between Gujarat state and Shizuoka Prefecture. In last December, a delegation from Shizuoka Prefecture, including the governor, visited the state of Gujarat. During the visit, they met with Chief Minister Mr. Patel and signed a friendship agreement. This agreement aims to promote cooperation and exchange in various fields such as economy, education, and tourism. In addition, a memorandum of understanding was signed with Gujarat University to collaborate in the economic and industrial sectors, including support for startups and matching between students and companies from Shizuoka Prefecture. As a result, we have recently carried out or are planning to carry out the activities shown in the lower half of this slide. For example, the second item from the top showed that officials from Shizuoka Prefecture visited Gujarat University to promote Shizuoka as a potential place of employment and to introduce job opportunities. Furthermore, in February next year, we plan to carry out a business mission, bringing companies from Shizuoka to visit Gujarat. We will continue to actively engage in efforts to encourage further economic development between Gujarat state and Shizuoka Prefecture. Now, let me continue by explaining what kind of place Shizuoka Prefecture is. First, I'd like to talk about its location in Japan. The area highlighted in orange on the map represents Shizuoka Prefecture. It is located almost in the center of Japan. The largest metropolitan areas in Japan are Tokyo, Osaka, and Nagoya. What this means is that, as shown on the map, Shizuoka lies within a 300-kilometer radius of all these cities, making it a highly advantageous range with excellent access to each of them. Furthermore, Shizuoka Prefecture is served by the Shinkansen, Japan's high-speed rail system, which provides convenient access to the three major cities mentioned earlier. In addition, two major expressways running east to west across the prefecture enable fast and efficient travel by car. And moreover, Shizuoka Prefecture is home to Mount Fuji Shizuoka Airport, an international airport, and Shimizu Port, a key international hub port. And finally, the climate is mild throughout the year, and apart from the mountainous areas, snowfall is extremely rare. Let me provide a bit more detail about Shizuoka Prefecture's accessibility. In the bottom right corner of this slide, you can see a map of Japan. The area outlined in green is enlarged and shown in the center of the slide. Using Japan's high-speed rail system, the Shinkansen, it takes approximately 1 hour to reach Shizuoka from Tokyo or Nagoya, and about 2 hours from Osaka. Next, I'd like to introduce the industries of Shizuoka Prefecture. Many companies have long been active here, especially in manufacturing. Please take a look at the lower left corner of the page. the shipment value of manufactured goods, which reflect the competitiveness of the manufacturing sector, stands at 11.2 trillion rupees, ranking third in Japan. As a result, Shizuoka also ranks fourth nationwide in per capita income. And please take a look at the pie chart on the right. It shows the breakdown of the shipment value of manufactured goods. As you can see, transportation equipment accounts for roughly one quarter of the total. And next, I'd like to showcase the regional diversity of industries in Shizuoka Prefecture. Shizuoka is commonly divided into four main areas, each with its own distinctive industries. First, the western region, shown in blue on the map, is known for its thriving manufacturing sector, particularly in transportation equipment and electronics. The headquarters of Maruti Suzuki is also located in Hamamatsu City, which belongs to this region. Secondly, Shizuoka Prefecture is one of Japan's leading producers of green tea. The central region, marked in red on the map, is especially famous for tea cultivation and tea processing. This area also has a strong fisheries industry, which has led to the development of many food processing companies. The eastern region, shown in yellow, is the major center for pharmaceutical and medical device production. In fact, it ranks first in Japan in terms of the value of medical device output. This region is also home to Mount Fuji, one of Japan's most iconic World Heritage sites. Finally, the Izu region, marked in green, is famous for a popular destination for tourism. Furthermore, our prefecture is actively promoting next-generation industries that will drive the local economy by establishing innovation hubs rooted in the unique strengths of each region. For example, in the eastern area, initiatives such as Pharma Valley project are underway to form a medical and healthcare industry cluster. But we will skip the details and move on to the next slide. Given this background, Shizuoka Prefecture is home to the headquarters of many globally recognized companies. Let me highlight a few examples. Companies based in Shizuoka that have a presence in India, including Gujarat state. The most prominent example is, of course, Suzuki, which also has a presence in Gujarat. As mentioned earlier, Suzuki's headquarters is located in Hamamatsu City, in the western part of Shizuoka Prefecture. In addition, Yamaha, which has entered the Indian market with its two-wheelers, also has its headquarters in Shizuoka Prefecture. And Murakami Manufacturing India Private Limited, which produces automotive side mirrors, and ASTI, which manufactures wire harnesses for vehicles, both have operations in Gujarat. But they are companies based in Shizuoka. To increase the number of local companies expanding into India, Shizuoka Prefecture operates the Shizuoka International Business Association to provide support for overseas business development. Next, I'd like to introduce the current status of corporate investment in Shizuoka Prefecture. Over the past 25 years, more than 1,600 companies have established a presence in the prefecture. From 2000 to 2024, Shizuoka Prefecture ranked first nationwide in the cumulative number of factory sightings. For many years, Shizuoka Prefecture has been chosen by numerous manufacturers as an ideal location for establishing factories. To further promote active corporate investment, Shizuoka Prefecture offers one of the most competitive incentive programs in Japan. For companies entering the prefecture for the first time, we provide generous support for capital investment and land acquisition, including subsidies of up to approximately 112 crore rupees. In addition, Shizuoka Prefecture offers subsidies of up to 3 million rupees for ICT and similar companies when establishing offices. Indian ICT firms are already active in the region. For example, Zoho currently operates 2 offices in the prefecture. Lastly, regarding Shizuoka Prefecture's international outreach, we currently operate 4 overseas representative offices. For queries from foreign affiliated companies, we have established a one-stop service center that provides support in English. If there are any companies that are interested in expanding into Shizuoka Prefecture, please feel free to contact our one-stop service center or Shizuoka Prefecture Government Business Development Division. Today and tomorrow, we also have a booth at the Vibrant Gujarat Japan Pavilion. That concludes my brief introduction to Shizuoka Prefecture. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Sato-san, for your such a wonderful and informative presentation. I'm sure that the audience has taken a good note about relationship between Shizuoka Prefecture and Gujarat State, and also about the possibilities of growing business and industry by by Gujarat-based companies to Shizuoka Prefecture. Now, we all know that there are Japanese companies across state from various sectors. Despite being culturally different, these companies must have good adaptability to suit to local culture and business practices. Do you know if, what, and how much impact Japanese investment have done in Gujarat? Ladies and gentlemen, we have two very senior and renowned academicians here who have deeply studied about impacts of Japanese investment in Gujarat. They are here to share what their study reveals. To begin with, I welcome Professor Vishwanathan, I welcome Professor Vishwanath Pingali to share findings of his study. Professor Vishwanath.
It's an amazing honor and privilege to be standing here talking about the impact of Japanese investments in India. I must tell you, Japan holds a very strong place in my heart because, let's face it, Kurosawa and Miyazaki were two of my very famous, very influential directors as far as I'm concerned. The antiques of Nobita and his partner Doraemon, not to mention Shin-chan, made sure that my son remained calm for I don't know how long in his life. And I don't know, I've never, during my PhD days, I still remember enjoying Japanese cuisine way back in Chicago with my Japanese classmates. So I don't know, the memories of Japan, I've never visited the country, but the memories of Japan are fairly strong in my head. And every time almost every time I met Mayur during the presentations, I'm sure during the project, we've had plenty of discussions around it. I feel as if I know the country despite never setting a foot on that. One day it will change, I'm sure about that. Yeah, so without further ado, let me actually talk about the study we did, the economic impact assessment of Suzuki Motors. So in 2014 March, I believe, in this town called Bechraji, which is around 70 kilometers from Ahmedabad, Suzuki decided to open its plant I mean, while I think in Gurgaon region, the plant was there for a long, long time, this is a new plant that started. And I think the purpose of this exercise was to understand what impact this ended up having on the local economy of Gujarat at large. That was what we were trying to do. I'll share a small anecdote that I've heard from people. The dads of girls used to run away whenever they saw any person from Bechraji because they really didn't want their daughters to marry into Bechraji, given the tensions the region has had, given the the lack of resources the region has had. We can tell you when we were doing our study, when we went to Bechraji to interview a few people, somebody was joking. Today, if I have a daughter, there'll be a huge queue in front of me because everyone wants to marry her, or things like that. So therefore, I think we've seen with our eyes the transformation the region has had after Suzuki has opened its plant, and the plant was operational since 2017, right? So the very famous thing about it, I'm told, is a temple. But I'm also told one more interesting anecdote. The very famous thing about that earlier used to be a small tea shop that would sell roughly 50 cups of tea a day, and that's pretty much what Bechraji was known for. Today, I dare you to get a cup of tea for as low as 7 rupees in that particular region, simply because prices have just gone up, and the development in the region has shown remarkable improvement in more than one sense of the word, right? So yeah, there are several milestones I'd like to point out in terms of opening the factory, in terms of starting the factory, made in India, becoming a big thing, etc., etc. I drive a very proud Maruti that got manufactured in that particular plant, bought literally 4 months ago, right? So this is the evolution of the plant over years. These are just visuals, but I'm going to show you even stark pictures as we go by as to how the region actually transformed. What used to be a swamp, and that was not fresh water, by the way, see, please therefore don't really worry about a freshwater resource being usurped, that's salt water. So therefore that is replaced by a factory, as you could see, that's the transformation that we're talking about. These are the Google Earth pictures. You can see, as you look at from one end to the other end, you can see how the construction is happening in every sense of the word. What is our approach to assess economic impact? We do few things. One is that we look at the investment and we calculate the macroeconomic impact of that investment. The second thing is that we actually look at Google nightlight data that Google provided us. Look at the improvement in luminosity. A very famous paper in American Economic Review, one of the top economic journals of the world, has suggested that 1% increase in luminosity leads to a significant change in the local GDP. So using those estimates, we triangulate the amount of change that has happened in the local economy. The next one is what we call a sentiment analysis. We have pored over newspapers of around 10 to 12 years, used all kinds of deep learning algorithms on it to figure out what sentiment was being expressed by the local authorities as far as the starting of Bechraji plant is concerned. Of course, we also conducted several on-field interviews. I'll leave it to my colleague to talk more about these interviews, but I'll walk you through the economic impact assessment. So we looked at the investment that was happening all the way from 2014 onwards. Now I'm sure you all understand the rupee in 2012 is not the same as rupee in 2023. There's been a lot of depreciation of rupee. So using 2023 as the benchmark, we converted 2012 estimates, investments into equivalent 2023 estimates. We also looked at the salaries that these have provided, that the factory has paid to various employees, both contractual and non-contractual employees. We talked to people to understand their savings patterns, and from there derived what we call as a local multiplier effect. Every rupee you earn in the locality, some of it goes to savings, but some of it is spent on local economy. That in turn gets spent, and that in turn gets spent. So there's what we call as a multiplier effect in economics. So we've had standard estimates that we got from the government of India, RBI statistics, on what those multipliers are. We didn't stop at RBI statistics. We actually went onto the field to triangulate that particular number to help us understand whether that multiplier is indeed right or wrong. So that was the financial model that we got. The direct impact comes in the form of Suzuki spending. An indirect impact comes in the form of vendor spending. When a car factory manufacturing facility starts, it's not the only investment that happens. A brakes factory needs to start, a clutch factory needs to start, and God knows how many factories need to start. Let's face it, there has to be a restaurant that caters food to the people who are working in the factory as well. So there's a lot of vibrancy of economic activity that happens. We call that indirect effect. What is multiplier effect? Investment in this region leads to further investment in this region, which in turn leads to further investment in this region. That is what we call as multiplier effect. Now these are numbers in crores. Our overall investment for Suzuki by SMG is 56,300 crores. SMG vendors is 3 times that. TDSG made a 9,707 crores. TDSG vendors have made significantly low amount of investment. And similarly, the 596 crores worth of salaries have been paid by Suzuki directly. Vendors have paid significant amount of money. And CSR is 56 crores by Suzuki. Vendors have spent 594 crores. I can tell you this because we've visited many of these centers where CSR activities were going on. There is a grin that covers ear to ear, and I think the space was a little less. Otherwise, the grin would be even more wide. But the best experience of all was to see the grin on Mayur's face as we told him the numbers, because that's his native town, by the way, from what I understand. Right? Let me show you the luminosity analysis. How does this work? We look at 5-kilometer radius of Suzuki plant, and I'll show you this is how the night light would look on an average in the region where SMG plant started. Look at the change in the brightness. The theory is very simple. When something develops, the region uses light. The region which had no electricity suddenly starts having electricity, it uses light. And that light, while in Ahmedabad, the changes in luminosity may not be captured. In any urban center, the change in luminosity cannot be captured. Any minor change in luminosity in rural areas is easily discernible. You can see how, so the red the dot gets, the brighter the region is. Of course, the brightest part, the middle red part, is the factory. I'm not interested. Of course, if you start a factory, the luminosity in that region goes up. I'm more interested in the surrounding regions, and I want you to look at how luminosity in the surrounding regions actually improved. And as the time goes by, the red dot, the surrounding halo surrounding the red dot continues to increase. And to me, that's the fun part about this entire exercise. Collecting the data, analyzing this data turns out to be one of the cool things that I've actually looked at. So the regional spillovers in terms of Finchdi, Hansalpur, etc., we've seen a significant improvement. There's a 775% improvement in luminosity over 10 years. 106.32% aligns with plant launch. Rest of it is completely attributable to the local region increasing. We've done some sophisticated statistical analyses to show that it is around 85.8% can directly be attributed to Suzuki plant coming in. The next one is what I call a sentiment analysis. We looked at media coverage. We used some deep learning algorithms to understand what the media had to say. And I want you to look at the graphs, how the narrative has changed. Look at how Bechraji, which was probably an afterthought in the 5th page of a newspaper, turns out to be the center of attraction as far as discussions in the local media is concerned. It peaked in 2024, you can guess for what reasons. It is just that the new cars are being launched, new facilities are being added, etc., etc., etc. Look at the coverage. Starting from 2014, in 2014 it was very minimal. Once the plant became operational, you can even clearly see that correlation. The day the plant got operational, the sentiment analysis picked up like crazy, and you actually see that it is increasing. 2024 onwards, it started plateauing a little bit. Maybe it's time for Suzuki to think about alternative investments so that it peaks all over once again. So these are, I think, some of the things that we've done. Semi-structured interviews. I will let my colleague talk more about it. But we personally have talked to social workers, farmers, women, police officers, educators, you name them. I don't know how many sarpanches, the village heads, have given us interesting anecdotes to carry forward as a memory of a lifetime in every sense of the word. I just give you a few statistics. Bank deposits increased. Bank turnover showed remarkable improvement in Bechraji. Land prices, I don't think there's anything better than real estate to tell us how much it has increased. Land prices have just shot through by 50 times in 2024. I was in Ahmedabad in 2014, and I will regret till the end of my life that I didn't purchase land in Bechraji when it was cheaply available in 2014, I believe. Vehicle ownership, people used to have 5 motor vehicles. Today, it has increased more than 20 times. Household income went from 5,000 to 50,000. So these are what we felt were strong points, whether it is employment and entrepreneurial growth, infrastructure and social development, or the long-term economic growth. We have seen changes across the spectrum. And the numbers we are putting in, I would like to believe, we've done a lot of sentiment analysis, sensitivity analysis, several alternative assumptions we've made. I would like to believe that the numbers we are putting in out there are lower bound of the actual impact. We can't figure out what the actual impact is, but we can certainly say that the numbers I showed you would be the least impact that it is possible as far as Suzuki plant is concerned. I'm thankful to Suzuki for giving us this opportunity to work with them. And yes, we are serious about writing a case study on how industrial development led growth of an economy happens. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to thank you for paying attention to me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Vishu of IIM Ahmedabad, for sharing findings of your study. Moving on to the next part of the study and its findings, I now invite Professor Hippu Sol Krisal Nathan of IRMA to share his findings of the study.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is an honor to be in the vibrant Gujarat. For me, this is the first time to be in such an occasion and represent the Institute of Rural Management, Anand, which actually brought such kind of revolution in terms of the milk revolution or the white revolution, what we know. And the magic of that you see if you go to any village in Gujarat, twice a day, every day, you will find people queuing up in the dairy cooperative society to deposit milk. And that's what actually created most of the prosperity what we see in the hinterland as well as the main parts of the Gujarat. And this is something which we thank at the outset Suzuki for giving this opportunity to do this study to complement what IIM Ahmedabad did in terms of doing it in a bottom-up way so as to know people's stories and find situation from the ground. So the objective was to look at this particular development, not only from the economic side, but from a multidimensional perspective of looking at human development, where health, education, and various other parameters of quality of life is extremely important. I mean, not to tell health how important it is. I mean, you ask a patient who is struggling for life, the person on the bed would say, let you take everything from me and get back my health. So health is that important. And so is education. And that's how the Human Development Index, which came as a alternative measure of development to the economic parameters like GDP, which Professor Vishwanath quite rightly sort of depicted that has improved significantly in the region. So the study focused on the 3 districts where this particular plant is located and the surrounding area, and we actually followed a hills approach. I will explain you that to see that what could be the change in the area. So this is the study area for you. I mean, zooming up from the state to the 3 districts, and within the 3 districts, the 3 blocks and the villages, which basically gets covered in the area. And total study area, the core area is 18 villages, 2 from Ahmedabad district, 7 from 2 from Surendranagar district, 7 from Mehsana, and 9 from Ahmedabad district. The process which we followed is there in front of you. We conducted household survey to know people's viewpoint, but surveys are mostly done by at times we call as enumerators. Even surveys can be done in Google Forms nowadays. So what is more important is to know people's story, to have an one-to-one in-depth interviews where people actually tell their in-depth hidden viewpoints to the outsider, which otherwise they would not express in a survey. So we had in-depth interview with various stakeholders, and also we had some case studies along with focus group discussion to have quick ideas, or when we get contradictory opinion in the in-depth interview, we tend to have a focus group discussion so as to basically have a reconciliatory discussion among the people having different viewpoints. So the HEALS approach stands for the, it's an acronym for health, education, assets, livelihood, and standard of living. So what we did, we unfortunately didn't have the baseline data. We didn't conduct a similar survey, for example, in 2014 or earlier to that, to know what was the exactly people's health, education, assets, livelihood, and standard of living status. So therefore, what we did, we actually surveyed, or when we had different interview guide and focus group discussion guide points, we did ask what is the situation currently, and also we asked retrospectively what could have been the situation if the plant would not have been there. Also we asked in past what was the situation to know the baseline information. Also, the development might happen, what we call is the classic case of difference in difference, where we see the difference could have been made also naturally, but then to attribute Suzuki's intervention to the difference, what we asked the people whom we surveyed, that how much of that, whatever development you have seen, you would like to attribute to the Suzuki. So that's how we basically figured out how much change that has happened in the area, and of those change, how much of that could be applicable to the Suzuki's intervention. So we came out with few indicators. The major indicators in the context of health is accessibility to healthcare, reduction of morbidity and mortality rate, reduction in the family health expenditure, which is considered to be an out-of-pocket expenditure, which actually make households to be in the poverty trap, and availability of certain health services, including ambulance services and vaccination. So in these indicators, so I will not go into the details of it, but all the slides coming from now related to health would be telling you the two figures. If you just focus on the two figures, the first is what percentage of the population experienced a positive change in that particular parameter, and second figure is of those people who actually expressed a positive change, of those people, how much of them attribute Suzuki for its cause. So be it about accessibility to healthcare, ambulance facility, as you could see, 3 out of 4 people actually told there is a positive change, and roughly half of them attribute to Suzuki's presence. Similarly, reduction of morbidity or reduction of mortality has been sort of opined by, you can say more than 80% of the people in the morbidity case and close to 70% of the people in the mortality case. And again, half of them and 1/3 of them attribute to Suzuki's intervention. So in the same way, healthcare accessibility for women, vaccination facility, we basically looked at those information. Then coming to education, we have similarly, we have with the presence of Suzuki, there is an English medium school, and there has been a reduction in dropout rate, enrollment into higher education, and overall access to the education has improved. So the population who has, again, similar way, they reported, so more than 90% of the people actually have reported there is a positive shift in the access to education, and 6 out of 10 actually attributed to the Suzuki's intervention. School enrollment, again, close to 90% have sort of said that the enrollment has increased, and more than 50% of them actually attribute to Suzuki's presence there. Dropout rate decrease is close to 50 to 60% of the people have said that the dropout rate has decreased, and more than 1/3 of them actually attributed to the Suzuki's presence there. Higher education opportunities has increased. English medium school and opportunity to be in that school has actually increased with the advent of that school. Similarly, talking about assets and income, there has been, if we categorized people into 5 groups on the left of the slide, as you could say, the income range in terms of below 50,000 per annum, 50,000 to 1 lakh, 1 lakh to 2 lakh, and 2 lakh to 3 lakh, and 3 lakh and above. And if you see, before the intervention, And after the intervention, which you can see the proportion of people who are earning 1 lakh and less has actually reduced, whereas the people who are having, or the households having higher income has increased. That is also depicted on the right hand side in the graph. The houses type, what we have, as for the official census definition, we have 3 kinds of houses based on the roof type, flooring type, and the wall type, what we call as kacha house, semi-pakka house, and pakka house. And if you see before SMG and after SMG, the kacha house and semi-pakka house proportion has decreased and the pakka house proportion has increased. Coming to livelihoods, so this is a very important component of the hills. The component is more about people's aspirations, people's dreams, youth, their job opportunities and career aspirations. So if we see in the context of the source of income coming from various sources, as you could see in this graph, the parameters which are on the left, that as a proportion is decreasing. That is more traditional occupation, agriculture, non-agricultural labor, etc. Whereas salaried employment, employment in private organization, own enterprises, and government agencies, actually that is something which has shown an improvement. And we actually looked at, when we asked this particular question to the household, we did ask, where your earlier occupation or the earlier 10 years ago, what could be the main source of earning and what is the main source of earning now? And that actually showed there is a shifting of agriculture to other sector, which is more what we saw in the salaried and business, and it is more about, having also private jobs. So career option for male, if you look at, obviously the similar pattern you would see. So to be engaged in the parental occupation or vocational training, most of the, that actually has declined or remained steadied, whereas employment in SMG, TDSG or auxiliary companies and employment in non-formal employment and also in government job is something which has actually on the rise. So the same thing has also we experienced for the female, which actually shows that the youth, because of the improvement in education access on one end and job opportunities at the other, the career aspirations actually has significant improvement in the area. This is something very significant. The wages has increased, which actually already shown by the IIM study. And the occupational skill, the population has reported because of the various skilling centers coming up through CSR and also otherwise has actually led to the skill improvement in the area. So overall, as you could see, 7 out of 10 people were reported that the positive trend in the employment opportunities, and 6 out of 10 of those who reported that they credited this SMG TDSC for the positive trend in the employment opportunities. Now coming to the standard of living, which actually showed various development of public goods in the area. Public goods is something which actually what we study in economics also is something which is non-rivalrous and non-exclusionary. In the sense, everybody enjoys it. And this development of that is something which becomes very important at the end of the day. Because sometimes if we see public transportation versus private transportation is good, but then private transportation at some point in time, if the infrastructure is not ready, can lead to congestion, pollution, and various other kinds. Whereas public transportation actually does the best, it is equitable, environment friendly, etc. So if you see availability of drinking water, which is a basic ingredient for health, water per se and water also needs for digestion and nutrition. You see the public water system has an increase over time with the presence of SMG, whereas the private source as the drinking water has actually decreased. So which is something, and almost 1/5 or little more than 1/5 of the people attribute to the SMG's presence for this change. Electricity connection, the adequate connection, the proportion of people reporting adequate connection has significantly increased, and proportionately the inadequate connection proportion has decreased. Street lights, again there has been an increase, whereas those who report that there is not enough street light. In fact, street light is a very, very important condition for safety, security, and various other kinds of quality of life. Now coming to the road quality, we've divided the quality. Road quality has actually multiple kinds. We divided it largely into 3 categories: the earthen roads, gravel roads, and concrete roads. As you could see, with the advent of the Suzuki, the gravel roads and the concrete roads has actually increased, and Suzuki actually got credit of 30% of people actually attribute to Suzuki. In fact, the nearby plant area is, we got 100% response in Suzuki's contribution to the road development. And if you see telecommunication access, that is naturally there is a lot of increase with the telecommunication, with the mobile revolution, etc. And access to financial services. So this is very important. So 3 out of 4 people actually reported a positive shift in the financial services, and roughly half of the people who reported, increase in the financial services attribute to the SMG's presence there. Cooking gas, which is something which we also call, being an energy researcher, I know how cooking gas is something which is extremely important. Kitchens are typically the killers. WHO always, every year, if you look at the highest number of deaths that happens worldwide, you will find among the top 5, typically among the top 5 deaths, you will find indoor air pollution is one of them. And that is how important that it leads to lungs and respiratory diseases, and that's something is actually killing silently lot of women and girl children who are engaged in cooking if they are using traditional fuel like firewood, cow dung, etc. So if you see that, if in the context of the cooking gas, if you see the move to the biogas has increased, and that is something which is actually having a very direct health impact. Now coming to the standard of living, obviously, as you could see, people have started, which is already presented by colleagues from IMA, where they said that the motorized transportation has increased, and there is also, we looked into some of the socio-cultural aspect because of the, you will see kind of, if you look at particularly the restaurants, which my colleague also did mention, there are several restaurants which are there, which are Japanese, and not only, there is an in-migration of Japanese into the area, but there is also in-migration of lot of people from other parts of the Gujarat and other parts of the country to that area. And that has, led to some kind of cultural exchange, and as you could see, 8 out of 10 people agree there is a improvements in the cultural exchange, and half of them actually attribute to the Suzuki's presence for there. So women empowerment, this is something which is very important. When we initially talked to Mayurji about this project, he always says, my dream is to see a girl from the local area being a manager in the Suzuki plant. And this is something which we looked at, that, girls, children, as you saw in the case of their aspirations to life and their career prospect also has improved. And actually, there is more than half of the people actually are mentioning, because sometimes economic prosperity and gender equity don't go hand in hand. If you go to Punjab and Haryana, that is a classic example with the economic prosperity happening through agriculture, but the sex ratio declined in those regions. So this is where the economy or the social goals may not go tandem with each other. We have to be conscious about that separately. So overall quality of life, as you could see, roughly 2/3 of the population has attributed, sort of agreed that there is a overall improvement in quality of life, and close to 6 out of 10 people attributed to the Suzuki. So this is something, this has already been discussed about, having pride of staying in the area or been married in that area, or those kind of things. There is a status improvement naturally there that also we observed in our study. What we did apart from this is to basically do a wider impact study, because our study was initially limited to the 18 villages, and obviously when a big infrastructure project of this size comes, it has the ripple effect, as explained nicely by my colleague, that would definitely have impact in the overall region. So what we did is we basically took up to 30-kilometer radius of the plant area, and that we divided into 6 groups. And luckily, we have study villages in the first 3 groups, like 0 to 5 kilometer, 5 to 10 kilometer, and 10 to 15 kilometer. So the development what we saw in these 3 regions, based on the study villages, as I had mentioned on the slide, as you could see, there were 8 study villages into the first zone. There were 7 study villages which were there in the second zone, and there were 3 study villages in the third zone. So we had the data for these 3 zones. So what we did, we extrapolated this data for the next 3 zones, depending upon the trend which you have. And that actually gave us the idea that if you look at the HEALS framework, the health, education, assets, livelihood, and standard of living. If you focus on the middle column there, where you digit 90, that is the percentage of people. So just an example, I would urge you to look at that particular column, which says that in the 0 to 5 kilometer, so the column represents is whether there is a positive improvement of, three or more dimensions of the hill. So hills, as you could see, there are 6 dimensions to hills. So 3 or more dimensions to the hills there is a positive improvement of the total proportion of the people. So that is basically 90% of the people have 3 or more dimension improvement, positive improvement in the 0 to 5 kilometer area. Now if you go down 5 to 10 kilometer, obviously it will reduce because you are going away from the central activity, and that is coming 2/3, 90 to 60. And in the third zone, it is 60 to 40. It is again going 2/3. So how do we extrapolate it? Very simple. We go 2/3 as we go down. And that's how actually we computed. This table is very interesting because if you come to the first or the second column, you would see that in the 0 to 5 kilometer zone, 100% is at least one of the dimensions. If you see, have a positive impact, that is 100% people reporting that. Okay. All the dimensions of the hills having positive impact, 35% reporting that. And that's basically the trend line what we have. And that gave us an idea that of the, in the total Becharaji Mandal area, there are total 323 villages within the 0 to 30 kilometer zone with a total population of 7,53,000, 7 lakh close to 54,000. And out of the total population, as you could see, 1 in 4, okay, so that is 25 to 26% of the, basically are substantially, we're saying if you are getting positively affected of 3 or more dimension where we are designating as substantial improvement, and that we are finding 25% impact of the population who have got 3 and more. Whereas if you talk about the population who have been affected positively by any one of the dimension, that population is out of 4 out of 5 people. That is close to 80% of the population. So that basically is the amount of impact we are talking about in the entire 30 kilometer radius of the area. And of course, I would like to say one thing that, IIM study and our study happened parallelly. Not often talking to each other. And I was pleasantly surprised when the information of that 7 times more improvement in terms of the, economic impact that has happened in the area, that coming from the nightlight data, etc., is something which also we got. This is what we call in the research is triangulation. We actually independently looked at what is the number of the commercial buildings, hotels, in terms of the commercial space overall, which has increased over time. Before the SMG TDS, we actually did a census of the nearby highway area as well as the villages which we studied. And we found exactly again, there is a total number actually has multiplied 7 times in terms of the commercial enterprises that has been developed. I will just take the last 2 minutes to just tell about few stories, because this is what also we would like to know. This is something, as you could say, people being from Gujarat and entrepreneurial in their abilities has innovated various things. When people are coming for, in-migration is happening for employment into those, plants, there was a requirement of staying facilities. And this is how you see one particular household which actually started a dormitory business. And, with the dormitory business, earlier their income used to be, prior to the business, 2 to 3 lakhs annually, but they are now earning 2.5 lakhs per month. So that is one example of how people life has changed. And this is a small mall which has come up. And this mall has come up, as you could also, I would urge you to read the first quotation by them. So where basically they are saying, this is because of the, I own and operate an MB Smart, and that is what actually, I am getting now 40,000, income that is 4 lakh income, 4 lakh income I am having per year. I am also employing 2 more people along with me. So this is also, so the inspiration of various shopping, enterprises which have come up. And this is actually, earlier there was nothing in this area. As my colleague rightly said, 50 teacups, okay. Now there are many shops like mine selling food, tea, different products in front of the plant. Our shop runs only because of the SMG plant. All the shops in front of the plant depend entirely on the employees, workers, and drivers of the plant. Okay, so this is what, so the last statement, if you say, मैं तो school नहीं गई हूँ, but आज मैं बोल सकती हूँ कि मुझे हिंदी नहीं आती थी, but आज मुझे इतनी हिंदी आती है कि मुझे लगता नहीं है कि मैंने स्कूल कभी नहीं गई. So this is what the transformation which has happened. There has been household which has gone into Farsan and various food products, tiffin centers. People have gone business with respect to even truck parking space. So because a lot of trucks coming to the area, so that business stories are also there, and also people who have started several other enterprises in various popular sectors in that area. Thank you very much for this opportunity. And I think the story of Suzuki becomes a national story going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Hippu. Both the professors. So your insight of your respective studies has given a lot of insight of what a Japanese ecosystem, business ecosystem, can transform an area and how it positively impacts lives of thousands of people in the vicinity. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, I want your kind attention for an important announcement. We have set up Japan Pavilion in Exhibition Hall C. You all are cordially invited to visit Japan Pavilion, where Shizuoka Prefecture and many Japanese companies have set up their booth. Your visit will definitely help you in understanding Japanese businesses and Shizuoka. नहीं नहीं So please visit Japan Pavilion in Exhibition Hall C. Now, it is time to hear from the Japanese companies about their anticipation about Gujarat. First of all, I invite Mr. Kazuya Higuchi, Director of Air Water India Private Limited, to share his thoughts. Higuchi-san, please.
I control. Okay. Hi, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Kazuya Higuchi. I'm director of Air Water India. It is great honor to be here and having the presentation about our company as well as our business plan in this Gujarat as well as Pan India. So today, just briefly explain about our company because you don't know, I believe, Air Water. So and then after that, what is our investment plan for the semiconductor business as well as biomethane project in this Gujarat and also India. So our, the Air Water is the headquarters is in Osaka, Japan. And then basically our core business is industrial gas business. That is the cryogenic technology. What is cryogenic technology? We can make this air into the minus over almost 200 centigrade and then make it liquefied. And the liquefied, and then we can, the extract pure oxygen, pure nitrogen, pure argon. And then main, the customer is the steel manufacturing company. So in Japan, Nippon Steel is our biggest customer. But based on this, the technology, we expand the business into the health, health safety and the agriculture and then also energy. And what is Air Water India? Air Water India is 100% Air Water Japan's subsidiary company. And then basically we are now doing industrial gas business, and we have two big factory. One is the Tata inside the Tata Steel, the Jamshedpur Jharkhand, and another one is the JSW Bellary Karnataka steel manufacturing plant. There is two big the cryogenic air separation unit is there. And then now we are planning to expand our business to the North India and then as well as this West India, Gujarat. And just for your information, the top right side, the photo. Actually, the 2 years back, our EX Prime Minister, Mr. Suga, was coming to here with over 100 Japanese businessmen. And at the time, last day, the only 12 Japanese businessmen was selected to see your honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Modi-san. And then left-hand side is our president, Mr. Matsubayashi. And from Modi-san himself, directly expressed the appreciation about the contribution to supply the oxygen during the COVID-19 pandemic. So now the main topics. The 4D semiconductor business. In Japan, we have already established the one window solution for the semiconductor business, especially for the industrial gas as well as special gases and special chemicals, and then also special equipment for the semiconductor business. So in Japan, we have our customer is Micron, Tokyo Electron, etc. And in this India, the downside is the industrial gas. This one we have already have air water India, so we can supply. But on the other hand, the top side is the special chemical, special gas, and special equipment that is not available in this India. So we are now cooperate with other Japanese company, and then the some of them are import from Japan or the other country. Then we do like to establish the one window for the semiconductor business, especially for Tata Electronic, Dorera, Gujarat. And in Japan, of course, we have already done everything. But in this India, we have this red one, bulk gas and gas purifier and the UPS we have already introduced here. But the other one, special gases or special equipment, that is still not here. So this one is we are now trying to establish that together with other Japanese company, and then we will be the one window for the Tata Electronics. That is what we are now planning and also already proceeding. And this is just for your information. In Chennai, we have already have the air separation unit, cryogenic, and then this one is quite remarkable. Is 99.99% nitrogen and then argon. The reason why is this kind of purity is needed for the electronic business as well as of course semiconductor business. This kind of purity is mandatory. So this one already we started in August, and this one we have already announced. We will introduce this model. This is 100% from our Japanese technology. This one we will set up here in Gujarat soon for the Tata Electronics. And of course, we have several kind of this kind of industrial gas equipment. This one, of course, we'd like to introduce here. Okay, now another subject, that is the biomethane project in India. Actually, in Japan, our air water is the top runner of the biomethane producer. And of course, we can make the biomethane gas, but of course, we have cryogenic technology. So we can make biomethane into liquefied. So we have LBM, means liquefied biomethane, first manufacturer in this world. So we supply this LBM to the marine fuel, truck fuel, and also now starting to supply to the rocket launching company, because the LBM has one of the merit is, of course, we can make it 99.999% the biomethane, as well as make it liquefied, means very small volume, 1/600. So this kind of the transportation, that is quite good merit. So we have already established this model in Japan. And just the details, the left top side is the biomethane plant, and then we will transfer it by special storage container to our LBM factory, and then make it liquefy, and then deliver to the customer. This one already we established in Japan. And then what we want to do in this India and Gujarat is the center is our very unique, later I will explain, very unique unit type biomethane plant we developed. And that is quite compact and small. So on the other hand, your country has a lot of cow, and then also a lot of agriculture waste. So we will make it into the biomethane gas, and then also the fertilizer. And on the other hand, you have a lot of cow, but majority is small and the middle-sized dairy farmer is the majority. As far as I know, almost 80% is the such kind of small dairy farmer. So on the other hand, make the biomethane plant, right the top side is fixed type. That is normal biomethane plant. That is you need huge investment and lot of cow is needed. But we are compact type, so what we are planning is left hand side, the center of the small dairy farmer, we set up our this unit type and then buying the cow down and then supply the carbon neutral CBG as well as organic fertilizer and then contribute to the society. We'd like to expand all over the India. And as I told you, we so-called UBS is unit type biomethane production system. This is very unique, only our air water is now developing. Then this is all-in-one plan. I mean, pre-treatment, methane fermentation, purification, compression, all one package. And this is a package, so we can module type, we can add on according to the number of the curve, as well as relocate can be done. So it's quite sustainable product. And so our aim, target is we'd like to make one village, one UBS. And then we are buying the cow down from the dairy farmer. We need just around 1,000 cows is needed. But from this one, we can supply carbon neutral CBG to the 400 household as well as 2,000 square meter or we can supply organic fertilizer. So what we want to do is one village, one UBS, and then contribute to the society as well as the GHG, greenhouse gas, we can reduce together. So this is, we'd like to expand all over the, India, but of course, in this Gujarat. But this is just briefly a comparison between normal type. Our lead time of the construction is very short, and then we need just around 1,000 cars, and then we have another technology is high temperature system. So always stable producing the biomethane. That is totally different from the normal one. And then the expansion of the unit means module type we can add on. And then also relocatable. So this is quite unique. And then we believe this one is quite suitable for India. So that's why now Japanese governmental body NEDO is supporting us. So the Japanese government is now supporting us, and then together with the Indian government, and then we introduce our technology, and then also development. So we need to cooperate with Indian company, and then we'd like to make a win-win business model in this India. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Higuchi-san, for your interesting presentation. Moving on, I now invite Mr. Hardik Panchal, CEO of Worldist Exports, to share his experience on being associated with a Japanese company, Lozi Japan, and what it means to a local business. Hardik-san.
Good afternoon, everyone. બહુ પ્રાઉડ ફીલ કરું છું કારણ કે હું ખેરવાનો છું. Being a local from belonging to Kherwa, it is a very proud moment for me to share this stage with distinguished guests and respected Japanese ministers and officers. Today I would like to talk about the smart barcode. The relationship started when our company was quite curious in introducing the sustainability in export ecosystem. So when we think about exports, we normally think about sending goods from country A to country B, but we forget that there is a huge proportion of risk that we always witness when we export to other countries, as well as we also forget the environment. So while we were looking at the solutions, we came across Lozi. And we had long discussions, we had a lot of interactions, and finally we decided to come on the same stage to give the solutions to Indian manufacturers and exporters how to export sustainably and with the transparency, which is very important nowadays. So I'd like to start with the presentation. So what is the traceability and how it helps and what are the benefits? As you can see on the screen, uh, we always, production, we think about the production always, that starts from the raw material, and then it moves to the factory, raw material moves to the factory, and then we have a finished product. That finished product goes to the warehouse, it goes from warehouse to the consumer or maybe the customer, or probably it is being exported to the other country. So as you can see in the chart, the whole process of how the material moves from factory to the end users or the customers. Now, in this whole journey, you never know that what is the process, how many hands being changed, how many points the goods have been moved, and if there was any alteration was made in the journey. We can see that there were recent incidents of the alteration of the cough syrups. If somebody have heard the news about the cough syrups being counterfeited, and not just cough syrups, but there are a lot of products being counterfeited, and we are always, worried what we are consuming, especially some of the items that we cannot track or trace. For example, ghee or honey that we consume, but we don't know the if it is pure or if it is not altered. We consume it just trusting the brands or just looking at the price tags. Um, so traceability, we believe that plays very important role in tracking the origin of the product, how it was made, using what kind of raw material, how the product was made and stored, which is very important, how you store it, some items, perishable items, at what temperature and how it was transported. Okay, and how when it reaches to the consumer, not just in India, we are not talking about farm to fork, we are talking about end-to-end traceability. So the product grown in Kerala, let's say lemons, we have a good crop of limes and lemons in Kerala. So if it is exported to Dubai, the consumer in Dubai can scan our smart barcode and he can understand where the product came from and how it was grown, using what kind of chemicals or fertilizers, and at what temperature it was stored in Kerala. So you have a basically shipping record, transport record, inbound, outbound journey. You have a transport record, sales record, and basically all the inbound and outbound records throughout the journey. So what we focus, seamless traceability, business efficiency, passport for things, and also we firmly believe that all the businesses should be responsible towards the environment, and that's why we also promote sustainability, and our smart barcode covers also capturing the scope 3 emissions. Smart barcode reads all kind of tags basically, and the IDs, and you can also use NFCs and RFIDs along with the smart barcode, and you can pair the smart barcode with other IDs and tags. So this is how the track scenario works, starting from procurement to the installation. So as I mentioned earlier, you have procured the raw material, then you are producing the product, you are doing inspection, then you are transporting to storage. From storage, it goes to the ship in export scenario. Then it's basically, let's say if there is a machine, then from Mehsana GIDC, they have exported to Japan maybe. Then this machine was installed, the maintenance was made. Even you can use the smart barcode for the maintenance and service records, and even after the shelf life of the machine or the product, you can still track the product until it's being recycled or reused or disposed. So I think it's very fantastic feature that you can trace the whole life of the product, life cycle basically we say, just like our passport. I would like to move on. So these are the devices that normally in supply chain we use. We have seen these devices, I think, in supermarket and some other places, and our smart barcode is supported and can be read through a lot of devices. But normally the fantastic thing is we have a user cases where we mostly use the smartphone. We use the smartphone to scan our smart barcodes to see the entire product's journey, and you don't need to download any apps. You don't have to go anywhere else to scan and trace the product. Okay, so these are some basic information, the tracking information of how it looks like. So you can see there is a product ID, product name, size, weight. There is a shipper, consignee basically in export scenario. Then you have also option to customize the features from Lozi's website. If you go to Lozi website and try to make your account, you can see there are some custom fields that you can add depending on your product and features that you require. You can also tag the GPS. So basically we can know in which farm the lemons were grown and when it was harvested. So you have a GPS tagging as well with this, and each and every stage you can sign. You have a option to digitally sign on app. So let's say from point A, if you are a farmer and you having a nice crop out there, you can, if you are tagging the location, and you can sign that you have inspected this crop, and then moving forward, the logistic partner also, they can sign digitally that they have accepted the cargo. Going to the warehouse, they can also sign digitally that they have received the cargo. So it goes on and on. Every time they just have to scan the code. There will be one master QR code where every data would be stored and can be accessed at the end of the entire chain using only single barcode. So we also have a custom field option. The last option is GSG emission calculation that defines our focus on sustainability in exports and manufacturing. So it right now it scores and traces scope 3 omission, which is related to the transportation of any cargo or the products. But there will be scope 1 and scope 2 will be added very soon. We are discussing about it. This is how the app look like. If you open the Smart Barcode website, this is how the home page is going to look like, where you can create, or you can create your you can make your registration, and you can create the page or your project using the Smart Barcode application, probably a website. You don't need to download it. Okay, so this slide is in Japanese language, but I think we can understand from the graphics and visuals. So factory, the transport made to the warehouse, then it was shipped via train or by ship to customer site. Again, after custom clearance, the cargo was taken to the buyer's warehouse. From buyer's warehouse, it was taken to the supermarket. So you can trace entire journey of this through the product, and you can same time calculate the GHG omission. So there are few functions that I would like to mention. The barcode used by the supplier is available, and you can pair those barcodes, and you can customize it, as well as you can recycle the barcodes. So when you do recycling, if you have override or put a wrong information, you can completely recycle the barcode. So the barcode you generated at the beginning won't go wasted. You can simply recycle it and use the same barcode if you have made any error filling the information earlier. So this is basically no code system. You don't need any technical expertise. You don't have to be an IT engineer to access this platform, and you don't need to Google or chat GPT how to use it. So you can simply go to website, make your registration, and start using smart barcode for your projects. Even for your school projects, you can use it. Even for your farming projects, manufacturing projects, you can use it. Pharmaceutical, logistics, warehousing, cold storage, numerous applications it covers. So that's all from my end for the smart barcodes. If anybody has any question, feel free to visit our booth, booth number 1 at the Japan Pavilion. I would like to answer your questions and would love to give you some live video demonstration at our stall. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you, Hardik San, for your interesting experience sharing. Towards the last experience sharing, now I invite Mr. Gautam Anand, Head of North Technopark at Toyotsu Bharat Integrated Services Private Limited, to make a presentation on the company's business model in India and Gujarat. Gautam San.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for having us. And I think it's indeed an honor to be here. And I know today I think it's a very long day, so please bear some more time with me, and I will be very quick with my presentation. So basically, we are Toyotsu Bharat Integrated Services Private Limited, and it's a group company of Toyota Shusho. And Toyota Shusho is again group company of Toyota Motors. So basically, Toyota Shusho is a trading company, but we are having a multiple divisions. And one of the divisions we are having supply chain, and in that we have one department which is taking care of the industrial park. So right now today we are here to explain about the industrial park business and the logistics and warehouses what we are offering here in Gujarat. So yeah, beginning with TBS, basically it's a newly formed company 2 years back. But before that, we were having three different companies like TAP, TTBL, and the TPMS. But due to the some internal decisions, we have formed a new company to support to the Japanese companies. So we have the head offices in Gujarat, Mandal location, GIDC Vitlapur, and apart from the that location, we are having branches pan India, basically in Delhi NCR region, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. Recently, we have also opened one facility in the Andhra Pradesh, and Maharashtra also we have one facility. So again, as a company overview, like Mr. Ishki today, he is not available, but he is a managing director, and we are having employees like more than 1,300 plus. And as I mentioned, we are having two main businesses. One is managing the industrial park, and one is the logistics and the warehouses. So depending upon the regions, we have all the facilities like in Gujarat and Karnataka. So we offer all the solutions. But in some locations, we are mainly focusing on the logistics and warehouse as of now. So regarding the Technopark operations, so we started this business in India in long back in 1998 from the Karnataka. So there we have two Technoparks, and there we are offering the ready-built factories to the Japanese suppliers who are supporting to the supply chain of the Toyota Motors. So in Gujarat, basically, if you see, we have the biggest Technopark, approximately 2,80,000 square meters of land we have, and it's in GIDC Japanese Industrial Zone. Right now, we are having 10 Japanese companies who are the suppliers of the Suzuki, or some of the suppliers are also into the non-automotive companies. So this is the location. Basically, in the Vitlapur, there is as I just mentioned, GIDC. So there we are located, and which is only 3 kilometers from the Honda two-wheelers plant, and 20 kilometers like Suzuki plant is also located. So basically, again, considering the supply chain of Suzuki and Honda, our suppliers are supporting them. So the nearby places because of the support from the Gujarat government and the JETRO, that GIDC facility was established. And currently, approximately in our industrial park, 10 companies are there, and in nearby same GIDC, almost 8 companies are there. So again, coming to the the location, it's I think a very good location considering the export market, because many of the Suzuki cars, basically it was being manufactured into the North India. So considering when they decided to come to Gujarat, that was one of the biggest advantage, considering they are exporting to more than 100 countries right now. So as a concept of our business, it's very simple, plug and play rental factory. We got the land from the government. We have developed the land as an industrial park. Basically all the necessary infrastructure, electricity, water, common admin services like canteen facility, medical facility, bus commutation, everything we are offering as a package. So customer just need to bring their machines, and after taking the necessary government approvals like from the pollution control board or the factory department, they can immediately start the operation. And as I just mentioned, we are having a rental factory. We have the ready-built options and the customized options. So depending upon the customer specification, we can also customize the factory. And as far as the merits are concerned, the 3 points basically we would like to explain. The first one is the reduction of lead time for the expansion. Usually, if any company is going to make a new factory, obviously they need to start from the procurement of the land, then making the building, then taking government approvals. It's a very time-consuming process. So considering the Japanese companies who are present in India, they might be accustomed to this kind of process, but some companies who are coming for the very first time, it is very tedious task. So we support them. And in our case, maximum, if it is an order-made factory, in that case also maximum 1.5 hours is good enough. And if it is a ready-built facility, in just 6 months, the companies can come and start the operation. The second, the biggest merit we are offer, like reduction of the initial investment, because everything, as I mentioned, the land is there, the buildings are there, infrastructure is readily available, common admin services are available. So these things can be reduced. They don't need to have any investment. And the lower running cost, because again, as a Toyota Shusho group, we have multiple division. We support into the procurement of raw materials like the chemicals, metals. We also offer the solution for the IT setup, insurances, like procurement of the machine from the various countries, installment. So everything like Toyota Shusho handles. So that is the biggest, again, advantages for the customer, that if they come to our industrial park as a Toyota Shusho group, we can support from scratch to everything. And we have also established one small training center inside the same premises, because as we are well aware that that area, specifically Bechraji or the Mandal, was like 10 years back, there was nothing apart from the villages. So whenever any companies are coming to any part of the India or the Gujarat, they have the very first requirement of the hiring of the skilled manpower. So that was one of the biggest challenges we also faced. So after again getting the support from the Japanese government and the government of Gujarat, we established one Japanese style Monozukuri school, and till now more than 200 rural kids we have been trained who can work into the Japanese companies. So apart from the normal services, we also offer into the equipment sales, lease, like any local requirements of the machineries, furnitures. So that kind of entire factory setup we support. And just as I mentioned, the manpower recruitment related also support we are offering. And for the infrastructure, as I mentioned that everything, electricity is there. We have also the renewable energies we are installing, like solar power, because in Gujarat that is one of the more biggest advantage, that many solar related infrastructures are getting up. And the water facility also, we have the support from the GIDC, so we are also supplying the same to our customers. And canteen also, it's a common canteen facility for all the customers and their employees. So it's managed every day, from the breakfast till the dinner. So we provide. So whatever the requirement is there, we support to our customers. And medical facility also is 24 by 7. We have the doctors and the nurses deployed inside the same industrial park. So if any mishappening happens, we can immediately take care. And again, like commutation facility also for the again the employees of the our customers. We offer the bus facility from Ahmedabad also, Mehsana and nearby region like Kadi or the Mehsana. So again, as a industrial park, the security point of view also 24 by 7. We have the security people who are taking care for any like operational issues or the theft issues, and the housekeeping people are also deployed so that the customer basically can focus only on the manufacturing part. This is a like entire like layout of our industrial park. So basically, we have the 3 different plots of land, and the blue portions are basically already the buildings are ready, and the yellow portions we are mainly right now focusing that new companies we are inviting, and very soon I believe that since some more new announcement will be happening for many Japanese companies who are still planning to come to Gujarat, so we will offer the MTS spaces to them. And these are some photographs how the rental factory works. The entire setup we have developed over the 10 years. And coming to the logistics business, so this also we are offering in all the locations we have the presence, and mainly Gujarat we are focusing a lot, and approximately 45,000 square meters of warehouse facility we have, one into the Mandal area, and one we have also developed a new facility nearby Suzuki plant. And again, the transportation part also, long haul also we are providing pan India basis from like Delhi to Gujarat, Pune, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, every part we are covering. And short haul also like from our industrial park to the Suzuki plant. So more than 120 trucks every day we are sending the customer parts. So like Suzuki Motors, like recently they have started manufacturing the EV cars. So that also in the new warehouse we are mainly focusing to support all the suppliers for the EV parts, and we are storing the batteries and other things who we take care to supply to the Suzuki plant. And apart from the like normal warehousing and the logistics, we also have some value added services which are very essential into this logistics and the warehouse business. And again that time management, like since Suzuki is having just in time delivery, so we also track each movement of the trucks once it left from our warehouse facility. 15 minutes duration we have the like time given from the Suzuki also, so that also we do track, because if there is any delay happen, there is a huge like possibility that Suzuki lines which are making the cars might stop, so that minute by minute operations we are tracking. And this is something like freight forwarding business also we support, like to all our customers who want to import or export to various parts of the like other countries. So yeah, this is all from my side. So basically what I wanted to mention that we are supporting Japanese companies, especially who are willing to come to Gujarat, and especially those companies who has like never come to India, because sometimes India is not an easy place to work, because there are so many uncertainties, so many difficulties to find a good place, to know what are the rules are there. So with the help of government of Gujarat and obviously the Japanese government, we have tried to smoothen the process so that everything is readily available for the new customers, and they can mainly focus on the manufacturing. So that is what we say a plug and play industrial park. Thank you so much for the listening.
Thank you, Gautam San, for your presentation on TBIS's operations in Gujarat and other parts of India. With this, we are done with all the presentations by distinguished speakers and presenters. We are truly honored to have you all today together. It has indeed added value to this Japan session. I am sure that all the attendees find this session very useful. Ladies and gentlemen, before signing off, you all are again invited to visit Japan Pavilion in Exhibition Hall 3. We have Shizuoka Prefecture and other Japanese companies exhibiting their products, services, and opportunities. I can assure you that you will find it very interesting after visiting Japan Pavilion. Your visit will also open door to explore for a productive and long-term business opportunity. Please visit Japan Pavilion to enhance your professional network as well. Thank you very much for your time and attending Japan session. With this, I, Sanchit Oza of Jetro Ahmedabad, announce the end of Japan session. Wish you all the very best and a successful visit to the first Vibrant Gujarat Regional Conference in Mehsana. Take very good care of yourself. Thank you so much.